Luffy's Grand Fleet versus Blackbeard's army. How could this happen?
Hello, my Nakamatachi, this is JoyGirl, and welcome to episode 2 of Let's Talk Wano. But before we begin, I do need to say a massive thank you to everyone because we have reached 10,000. And I appreciate you guys so much. You know, I can't believe that we've reached this milestone already. You know, we have still over a week left until the 1-year anniversary of our channel. And I'm just lost for words. You know, welcome to all of our new subscribers. You know, it's great to have you guys with us and here with us on board. And I can't wait for our channel to continue growing as we continue to, you know, discuss the world's greatest series. And I also can't wait to celebrate with you guys when we actually do reach our 1-year anniversary. I've got something special planned for that. And also, I did mention in one of my latest videos that the possibility of doing a stream, and I do want to continue with that. It seemed like a lot of you guys were on board with that idea. I just need to sort of nut out the details. I mean, I live in Australia where the time difference is really different for most of you guys. So I'll just have to work out those little details and then I'll keep you guys updated. As for today, we have episode 2 of Let's Talk Wano, like I promised. You know, as I mentioned in the last chapter review, there are a few things that I wanted to discuss in greater detail, and there are also other things that I wanted to discuss today, because you guys might have noticed that I've been a little MIA, and I'm sorry about that. Sorry I haven't been releasing. I was feeling a little unwell, so I couldn't make any videos, which is also why I appreciate you guys, you know, all the more. The fact that we were able to reach 10,000 regardless, the fact that you guys all pulled through, I just love you guys so much. But for today's video, there are 2 things that I want to do. So there are 2 parts to this. Firstly, we're going to discuss the new Vivre cards that was released recently. And then also we're going to discuss a little bit of a theory that I have based on chapter 1011. So some of the details that I discussed in chapter 1011's review that I wanted to discuss in greater detail today. So let's start with the part 1. Let's start with the new Vivre card information. As you guys might know already, the Season 2, Volume 1 of the Vivre card data books was released only recently. And thank you, as always, to, you know, all of the people who go to the work of actually translating all of those information to us, you know, for all of us non-Japanese speaking fans. The one that I read was the Library of Ohara, so thank you for providing those information. And I will provide a link to the translation below in the description box, so feel free to check that out for yourself. But there are a few things that I wanted to discuss today, and that's particularly concerning the characters Tama, Toko, and Yasui, because as you guys might remember from episode 1 of Let's Talk Wano, we discussed the mysteries surrounding Tama and Toko's lineage, and the possibility of the two sharing some sort of link together in their history. Now, Toko's Vivre card revealed that she is 6 years old, meaning that she's actually 2 years younger than Tama. So the idea of them, you know, being switched at birth doesn't seem very likely, although there is still the possibility that they were switched, you know, both when they were very young. You know, maybe when they were both toddlers, maybe Tama was a very small child. Anyways, despite the fact that they're not the same age, you know, my crazy theory still might work. And if anything, there was something else in the Vivre card that actually seems to support those crazy ideas. And that's the fact that Toko is Yasui's adopted daughter. Yasui's Vivre card reveals that he adopted Toko after she lost her parents, but we don't know how or when that happened. And if you remember, my theory was that Tama and Toko have both eaten devil fruits. That maybe Tama has actually eaten the one that was meant for Toko, if Toko was actually Orochi's daughter, not Tama, like other theories suppose it to be. And if Yasui is actually aware of this sort of history between the two, and the fact that Toko actually ate a defective smile devil fruit instead, then that could actually be partly why he laughs, because he might feel, you know, sort of responsible for what's happened. But anyways, half of my theory was correct, so yay! And one of the reasons why I actually said that it's Toko who could be Orochi's daughter and not Tama is because I just wanted to provide a fresh take on, you know, sort of the things that have already been theorized. And if I'm being honest, it's probably more plausible that Tama is actually a Kurozumi. So in saying that, if that's the one that's actually correct, then, you know, good on you guys for coming up with that. But like I said, I just wanted to come up with a fresh take, come up with a new fresh perspective that I wanted to provide. And I'll be happy if I'm wrong, but I do like to come up with new ideas that could, to think outside the box. And whilst the Vivre card information about Yasui and Toko's relationship doesn't actually confirm that Toko is necessarily Orochi's daughter, who was only discarded after eating a defective Smile Devil fruit, I think that it does at least mean that there is more to Toko's story that we have yet to see. I mean, sure, it fits One Piece that Toko isn't actually Yasui's biological daughter. We see it a lot in One Piece, a lot of characters, practically all of the Straw Hats have, surrogate or adoptive parents. Oda really likes to remind us of the fact that your family doesn't have to be related to you by blood, and they don't have to be biologically your family for you to consider them as a family. But in saying that, we're seeing this for a side character, and for this to be revealed, I just feel like there's a bit more to it in this story. Anyways, for all of our new crewmates, if you guys actually haven't watched that Tama and Toko discussion, aka, episode 1 of Let's Talk Wano, then I do highly recommend that you guys do watch it, especially now that it seems like, we might be right. But anyways, before we move on, there is something else from the Vivre card data book, the new information that I did want to discuss today, and that still concerns Yasui. So another detail that stood out for me is the fact that Yasui actually never ate a devil fruit. So it's been confirmed that Yasui never ate the Smile Devil fruit or the defective Smile Devil fruit, even though Toko did. And I think that just says so much about his character. The fact that he was always shown laughing and smiling, and that wasn't, a forced expression because of a defective smile, but that was just him trying to, lift up the spirits of everyone in Ibizu town. And it really just shot Yasui up as one of my favorite characters. And it's funny because when we look at the flashbacks, he was never really portrayed to be such a cheerful and bright character. He always sort of seemed quite stern and serious. So then to compare the old Yasui and then Yasu the hedgehog, it just really makes you feel like he was a daimyo at heart, through and through. Even when he could no longer protect his citizens as a daimyo in his position, he felt that he really needed to try help them and protect them in another way, by keeping their spirits alive and really trying to do what's best for his people. One of the things that I love so much about One Piece is that Oda makes us feel this sort of way and makes us feel so deeply about, all of his characters, even the side characters. And so whilst I will leave you guys to, read the rest of the Vivre card information for yourselves, I did think that this was one that I wanted to mention and I thought deserved some more discussion. But anyways, let's move on to part 2, like I said, which is a theory based on some of the more details that we received in chapter 1011. So for here, I am going to have to say to our anime-only fans to, thank you for tuning in. And if you guys are a new subscriber, again, thank you so much and welcome aboard. But for now, I am going to have to direct you to one of my other videos so that you don't get any spoiled on only manga content. Now for everyone else, let's talk Wano. So, like I mentioned in the last chapter review, there are some things that I thought deserved some extra discussion, and by that, I mean the extra information that we got about Tama's devil fruit powers. So, as we know, it was revealed that Tama's devil fruit only works against Smile Devil Fruit users. Again, I hope you guys have all watched episode 1 of Let's Talk Wano, because I did mention how convenient it is that Tama has this devil fruit ability, and sort of the mysteries which surround this young kunoichi. But this new reveal and this new information does spark new questions. And this was a very interesting piece of information that we received because, for one, it does place limitations on Tama's devil fruit ability, and so as a result, what sort of role that she might play in the future of the Wano arc. But for today's video, it also seems like we could make connections and further, speculations to some other devil fruits. And by this, I'm actually talking about Momo's devil fruit. So, whilst Momonosuke's devil fruit isn't actually a smile devil fruit, it is an artificial devil fruit, and considered a failure at that. And if you guys have been following my channel for a while, you will know that I have discussed why I don't think Momo's devil fruit is actually a failure. Well, Tama's devil fruit only working against smiles seems for me that it actually could strengthen the idea that Momo's devil fruit isn't actually a failure. And I think that these two could be connected. If the world government created Momo's devil fruit as based off Kaido and based off Kaido's lineage factor, then I think it's actually possible that they created a devil fruit which could counteract Kaido. And that's actually how they ended up with Tama's devil fruit. And actually, in the Vivre card data books, in the new one for Tama, because of her devil fruit power, probably, they actually explain her, they actually describe her to be the natural enemy of the beast pirates, alongside, revealing the name of the devil fruit to be Kibi Kibi Dango. The Kibi Kibi devil fruit, based off probably the Kibidangos that she creates. But in saying that, there are some factors which go against this, and that's the fact that, again, Momo's devil fruit isn't actually a smile devil fruit. And what I mean by that is that it could be that the way that Tama's devil fruit works is that it has to do with the lineage factor of the smiles themselves, and that's why she's able to control them, not so much the mechanics of her own devil fruit. But still, it is an interesting, revelation that was confirmed. And, like always, it creates more questions than it answers. Because my biggest question, now that Tama's devil fruit is confirmed to only work against smiles, is why would there be a natural devil fruit in existence which can control something that is man-made? And the only explanation I would have for that, if Tama's devil fruit isn't actually man-made, is that it's natural, its original purpose is to just control animals, and because Smile Zoan fruit users have the characteristics of animals, that's actually how Tama is controlling the smiles. But in that case, non-artificial normal Zoans also display, animal characteristics, so why doesn't it work on them? Which is why it brings me to the theory that Tama's devil fruit is man-made. What if Tama's devil fruit actually came from the lineage factor of someone else who had a devil fruit of a similar nature? What if that someone was able to control Zoans through their devil fruits, and Tama's devil fruit was created from that lineage factor, but only to the extent that it would work against Smile Zoans? This could actually strengthen the theory from, episode 1 that Orochi actually had this devil fruit made, or that, that he came into possession of it so that he could control Kaido, or at least Kaido's, at least his army once he found out that the devil fruit was defective and could only work against smiles. Or, maybe he's actually not even aware of the results of this artificial devil fruit, because before he could find out, how it works and its mechanics, a certain child was taken away from him after they consumed it. Going back to that crazy theory again about the little girls. And, that's crazy. But you want to know something crazier? What if it was Zebek's devil fruit? It actually might be Zebek's old devil fruit, which he, previously possessed. Or maybe it's actually just a replication of his devil fruit, if he is still alive. But, let's say that Zebek did die. What if Kaido had possession of his captain's devil fruit after Zebek died, and then was captured by the Marines, and then at the same time that they were creating Momo's devil fruit based off Kaido's lineage factor, they also took away Zebek's devil fruit and tried to replicate it so that they could create a devil fruit of their own with the same ability so that they could, strengthen their armies. And then somehow that devil fruit, that replication, ended up in the hands of Orochi. And then maybe that's actually why Tama's devil fruit has this sort of restriction or this limitation, maybe considered a failure. Maybe the fact that Momo's fruit was actually made from Kaido's lineage factor, made from Kaido, his body himself, makes Momo's devil fruit not a failure. But in the case of Tama's devil fruit, if it was created from the devil fruit itself and not from Zebek's lineage factor, maybe that restricted the ability or the extent of that ability, and maybe that's why Tama's ability only works against smiles. Although this does raise the question of, if they had Zebek's devil fruit, why didn't they just use it to control Kaido themselves? Was it because they didn't want someone to have so much power? Were they afraid that it would get into the wrong hands? Or maybe Zebek was alive. And maybe the reason why the replication didn't actually work properly is because unlike the replication of Kaido's devil fruit or other normal Zoan fruits, the replication of other sort of devil fruit abilities is harder to create. It doesn't have to do with just the simple physical transformation of the body. Although now we're just getting a bit wilder and wilder and, we're getting crazier with the speculations, and that's coming from me. But there is a reason why I like this idea that Tama's devil fruit is actually a replication of Xebec, and that's because that would actually bring Xebec, Kaido, and Blackbeard, all together. And maybe it's actually Xebec's original devil fruit and not Kaido's that Blackbeard is after. I've discussed before about the possibility of Xebec and Blackbeard being somehow related, and if you guys haven't watched that, then feel free to check that one out too. But if it is indeed that Blackbeard does have some sort of connection to Xebec, then maybe he's aware of Xebec's devil fruit power. And maybe this is actually what he was referring to when he said that, if the Navy is only going to take it, then I might as well claim the prize. And then this could actually make sense and have some, further implications if the final war is actually between Luffy and Blackbeard, because then Blackbeard would be outnumbered when we take into account Luffy's Grand Fleet. When the Grand Fleet first formed, I thought that they could come into play so that they could help Luffy and the Straw Hats, in a future war, probably most likely against the Marines. But what if the final war is actually against Blackbeard and his army? Luffy's Grand Fleet versus Blackbeard's army. How could this happen? Blackbeard obtaining a devil fruit that could control Zoans could even out the playing field and could really make for some, super cool and super fun fights if we see Luffy and his allies and then Blackbeard with his crew and then his controlled Zoans. Can you just imagine that? Whoa! But there I go again with all of my crazy imaginations, and with that crazy image that I've left you, this does bring us to the end of today's discussion. As always, please comment below on what you think of this idea of all the different topics that we discussed today. Please like and share the video, and please don't forget to subscribe because although we have reached the 10k milestone, our journey is only beginning and I cannot wait for you guys to join us. So, this is JoyGirl, and I'll see you again soon.